Joining us is the National Senator Matt Canavan. Matt, good to see you. Thanks for your time. So just on to yesterday's story, just want to get your thoughts on this. The Albanese government was actually warned by Home Affairs that any change to Operation Sovereign Borders could spark a return of people smuggling, yet the government pressed ahead with moving 20,000 people off those TPVs. Any concerns on your part that this will bring smugglers back into business?
Well, there's no doubt this is playing with fire, Peter. We have a situation that works. We have a border that's secure. We are the envy of the world, really, certainly the Western world, where in Europe and America, their borders have been overrun by migrants, and it's undermining the cohesion of their societies. We don't have that problem here in Australia, thanks to the tough decisions that were made, first by the Howard government and then had to be reinstated by the Abbott government around a decade ago. So why change something that's not broken? This seems to me to be going against the adage that don't fix what ain't broken, and our border system is not broken. So mucking around with it here only risks that people smuggling trade, that terrible trade, restarts. Let's just hope and pray that doesn't happen. But we've seen this movie before. The Rudd government came in thinking they could tinker with all of this, and an absolute disaster unfolded on our border shores. So I think now all we can do is pray. All right, but what about those who were stranded here, basically living in limbo for more than 10 years? Should they have been just given some clarity with their lives to move on? Well, I think, as I say, the coalition government put in place a secure system. As a system that worked, a system that secured our borders, and that's got to be our number one focus as the Australian government. Those people that were here illegally, if they had not been declared refugees through our court system, they are here illegally. They were given temporary visas. Of course, there was always the option for those people to return. As I say, they were not deemed refugees. That means they were not deemed as being unsafe to return to their home country. So in no way was their lives in limbo, so to speak. They weren't stateless citizens. They had rights to go elsewhere in the world. It'd be no different from me flying over to Europe and then just camping there and saying, I don't want to go home. Well, sorry, you're not. I'm not a European citizen. I've been proven to be not an Italian citizen, Peter. I don't have the right just to stay there. And the people that were here illegally didn't have that right either. Ed Husick has claimed this morning that the coalition scuttling the National Reconstruction Fund will put national security at risk by restricting investment in quantum and critical technologies pledged under AUKUS. Why not just support it? Well, because this just seems like a massive Labor white elephant. You can tell that Ed's argument doesn't stack up, because this was never made as a pitch or a reason to support the Reconstruction Fund until the Labor Party faced some scrutiny here in the Parliament. And so this is a desperate attempt to try and scare the Senate into not exposing that scrutiny. This bill, this Reconstruction Fund, already we know in the legislation targets and flags that experts in industrial relations, that is trade union officials, will be appointed to the board. We've read this week that trade unions now are demanding that any of the funds spent under this program only go to businesses that are unionised. The government's resisted that, though. Well, that's that. How do we know that won't be how it's implemented? Because, as I say, the legislation is certainly targeted towards helping out Labor's mates in the unions movements. I don't see any reason why we need this $15 billion boondoggle here. The coalition government had a sensible approach here of more limited targeted grants to our manufacturing industry. That can help those industries in the critical mineral space in those areas that are important for our national security. But $15 billion of loans and equities just seems an unnecessary indulgence, especially at this time of high inflation, when the Reserve Bank is desperate for us here in Canberra to rein in spending and get inflation under control. Well, on that point then, the Treasurer's got a challenge ahead to rein in spending in this time of high inflation. There's so many moving parts here, because Philip Lowe, he's going to be grilled in Canberra tomorrow. I'm curious to ask you, Matt, if you were to ask Philip Lowe a question, what would it be? Well, look, I asked him to apologise last time, and he's done that. And to some extent that now is spilt milk. The question I would ask Phil now is, what can we do to help? He's made mistakes, there's no doubt about that, but we've all got to get together now and fix this problem that has been created. And I see here the government spending too much time harping on about the RBA and not enough time helping Australian households. The way they could help Australian households is what the Reserve Bank chair is, what the Reserve Bank CEO is saying here is that we need to rein in spending here in Canberra. The more money we spend here, more of your money we spend, I should say, the higher your grocery bills will be. We are only adding to those inflationary pressures. So things like this reconstruction fund, we've got to make choices. We've got to make tough choices. I'm not going to blame the Reserve Bank Governor for what has been his decisions in the past few weeks. Inflation's at 7.8%. Interest rates have to go up in response to that, but government spending has to go down. If it doesn't, interest rates will only be higher for longer, and that will increase the pain on Australian households.
And just a couple of quick ones here, Matt, too. The US has confirmed, this is our top story this morning, that China's been pursuing a high-altitude balloon program of intelligence gathering. You just heard from Kirby a short time ago. He says that dozens of countries around the world on multiple continents, I think we knew this anyway, have experienced this as well. Question mark over whether that's happened here or not. Do you have those questions?
I do have those questions, and the Defence Department will be appearing at Senate estimates tomorrow. I'm sure I'm keen to ask them. I'm sure many other senators will be as well about this situation. Look, it's just another demonstration of the fact that you cannot trust the Chinese Communist Party government. I think the government's so-called, or I'm going to tag it, the China pivot, they're clearly trying to pivot towards China, is a mistake and a dead end for diplomacy and trade for Australia. We should be seeking to expand our relationships with other countries that are friendly and not flying unauthorised aircraft over what they think are their friends in the world. Why would we be expanding trade with this country that cannot be trusted to put in cameras in our Defence Department, that is flying aircraft unauthorised over other countries? I don't want conflict with China, but we should be doing everything we can to avoid an entangled relationship with them.
Okay, Matt Canavan, we'll have to leave it there. Appreciate your time, though. Matt Canavan coming to us live from Canberra.